Hey guys, it's Mike here, and did you know that Majin Buu actually had a weakness that was introduced and told to us all the way back in the Buu saga of Dragon Ball Z? Well, a lot of people don't seem to actually be aware of this because the fact that either it wasn't referenced in the original English dub, or at least it wasn't as emphasized in the dub and the anime comparative to the manga. Even in the manga, sometimes it seems like it might come down to a matter of translation, but nonetheless, it is in there, and it was given to us directly by Akira Toriyama, because after all, throughout the course of the story, we see Buu in his arc that's named after him, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, of course, in which we are told and shown that Buu is basically unstoppable, unbeatable. He is a magical being with broken regeneration significantly better than even Super Perfect Cell and Piccolo and, both them combined and on, the roids for their gains. And so as a result, he has the magical ones that are in stock for him and probably what he uses his magic beam to create. And so Buu, he keeps coming back from everything. Even when Gotenks blows him up and then vaporizes the chunks and he's ashes, he comes back from smoke. So it seems like there's nothing that he's really weak against. And the only thing that defeats him in the end is the Spirit Bomb, the Genki Dama, which a lot of people seem to believe is the only way to defeat him. Actually, on my video a little while back on this channel, I discussed if that is the case. Now, of course, I'm going to introduce to you, if you aren't aware of this, or if you already know it, you can let me know in the comments, the true weakness of Majin Buu, which comes down to, well, Buu himself, as I'm going to show you right now, because there are two major instances of which when this occurred. So, for instance, we see that when Goku is fighting against Kid Buu, and he is now at this point charging up his power in his Super Saiyan 3 so that he'll be able to fire a full power attack that will eliminate Buu. Of course, as we know, that doesn't end up happening because instead he runs out of energy due to the stamina restrictions that are, born of this extremely inefficient but cool looking transformation, Super Saiyan 3, which goes even further beyond. And what happens? When he's fighting against Mr. Satan, Hercule in the English dub, Mark, as Toriyama told us in an interview, he spits out Majin Buu, the fat one, the good one, who had been influencing him. Now, at this point, he seems to be pretty much, uninhibited by the effects of the Kais. That's why he, Fat Buu, takes on the appearance of, the Daikaioshin, the fat one, as we are told specifically by his underling Shin. So I can call him Fatso all I want. Fat Buu, Fatso Kai, go for it. It's simple if it jiggles, it's fat, as Arnold Schwarzenegger once said. And Harold says all the time to me. And so basically at this point, we see that he gets back up, ready to fight, to hold him back in a different way to save Mr. Satan, his best buddy at this point in time. They have one of the best bromances in Dragon Ball Z for sure. And so at this point, what happens? The two of them are battling each other, and Buu's actually doing a lot better than people give him credit for. Makes you wonder if he even got weaker at all when he was spit out by Kid Buu, if he was weaker after the other division that we'll see later in this video I'll be bringing up as another example, and that much more. And he's doing pretty well here. He does better than Vegeta, funny enough. And guess what? Well, Buu continues to lose, the fat one, that is the one that we're first introduced to, Mr. Buu. I'm going to keep rhyming all day, every day. And so, what happens? He's getting the better of him, and it seems like he's being, worn down over time. So throughout the course of the story, it seems like Buu has basically infinite stamina like the androids on top of his infinite magical regeneration, and no matter what the characters throw at him, nothing seems to wear him down or affect him. He just pops back in. He rejuvenates himself. He can even turn to Little Buu's everything. It seems like nothing can actually weaken him until right now in this moment. You see Kid Buu pulls a move that Buu kind of did on Vegeta earlier and rips off part of himself and uses it as a weapon. And guess what? He keeps beating him over and over. And we see right here, what's happening on screen? Fat Buu is huffing and puffing. The first time that we've seen this happen, aside from another time I'll be getting into shortly. it's interesting because this has never happened with the normal fighters against him. This is when Vegeta points this out to Goku. Do you see that, Kakarot? The fatty's power is dropping. It seems he can get hurt if he fights another Buu. Now, Toriyama didn't just throw this panel here for no reason. First off, it was a way of adding more tension to the story, but this isn't something that Toriyama just came up here and now. This was actually foreshadowed in a sense, or maybe just directly shown to us and not told to us earlier on in the story before the emergence of Kid Buu and most of the other forms of Buu that we see on screen, aside from, well, two, which I'll be showing momentarily. But Toriyama gave us a clear weakness for Buu, that if he fights another Buu, he could be worn down. And we saw that firsthand earlier on before, because what happened? Well, we saw Buu divided another time. However, this time, instead of it being the pure Buu, the Kid Buu, Aku Buu, the pure incarnation of evil as he's described, this time it was the divide between the fat Buu, who is Buu with the Kais within him, and his evil side. So essentially, I have a whole video on my channel, which is why did Super Buu turn into Kid Buu instead of this Buu right here, Evil Buu, Gray Buu, Wrath Buu, I think is probably the coolest variation of his name and maybe the most fitting, as it explains in here. And basically, to make it short, we have it where the fat Buu, well, he here is the good version of Buu combined with the Kais, whereas this is the evil version of Buu combined with the Kais. We know that Kais can be evil just as much as they could be good or neutral, and so this is the evil of Buu and those Kais combined, which is why he takes on this outfit and this look, whereas with Kid Buu, he doesn't take on, well, any of that appearance. He instead just looks like Buu with, the same parachute pants, like he's MC Hammer, except, just remove the C because it's just M for Majin. And so we see at this point, he goes on to fight against Buu, and we're told more in depth as to what this is. Because of the incredible anger that Buu felt, the evil inside of him grew greatly. It became another Buu. In other words, they separated into Evil Buu and an innocent Buu. He does that first and foremost by wiping out this guy who really had it coming, considering that he killed, just innocent people before this, and then he tried to kill a dog and Mr. Satan, who wasn't necessarily as innocent as those other three. But either way, then the two of them get to battle, and we see immediately that Buu is on the back foot for once. The only time he's getting beat before this is by Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and yet he keeps popping right back like nothing even happened, as Goku had mentioned. The majority of the power went to the Evil Buu in this case when they had separated. And we see this Buu, he's struggling to regenerate. He's on the ground, and he's in difficult strides. This is when he goes to attack the other Buu, and the only time we see this happen as well, where this Buu is able to actually just blow back the power of the candy beam. Even Vegito is turned into candy when it's fired at him. We never see him or another character just be able to smack it away or blow it away or anything like that, except for this Buu. I think it's because the magical power inherent within him. When two different Buus fight, it just comes down to, instead of like their hacks, is somehow negated by some kind of magical ability inherent within them, some kind of power that they seem to have. He's defeated by the Evil Buu in this case here, and defeated by the pure and also Evil Buu right here. Beaten down, his stamina can't hold up, and eventually he's just straight up defeated, and as we could see right here, has no energy left, and is then, well, left for dead, basically. Even at the very end of this fight, after the evil Kid Buu is wiped out, as we see right here with the Spirit Bomb, as I mentioned before, Vegeta goes and he finds Fat Buu on the ground after Mr. Satan points him out. And he's exhausted. He's tired. Again, one of the few instances we even see of this occurring in the entire franchise, including the after manga material. And so, again, this never happened with the exception of when he had fought another Buu. And so, for some reason, with one way or another, Toriyama appears to have given Buu a weakness which is extremely circumstantial. You can even argue, perhaps, that Kid Buu was under the effect of this weakness as well, because this is something that most people, I feel like, have never really brought up before when it comes to how Kid Buu was ultimately wiped out and killed by Goku. Because after all, before Kid Buu is hit with the Spirit Bomb and his body is eradicated, as we could see right here, he was in fact fighting another Buu. So what if perhaps that's another reasoning and rationale behind the fact that Kid Buu was killed by a Spirit Bomb? Because after all, when Gotenks vaporized him and then destroyed his ashes and he was literally smoke, he still could come back. And yet in this case, he didn't after he fought another Buu, which didn't happen with Super Buu. He was the combined forms of the evil Wrath Buu and the good Fat Buu taken over and controlled by the evil while suppressing the power of the Kais that held him back, just using all of their strength, which I've discussed in other videos. So what if maybe that's one of the big keys that led to Kid Buu also being eradicated? It's entirely possible because Toriyama introduced this shortly before Kid Buu was killed. Was he trying to have us connect those two dots together, or was it something else? I guess you could let me know down below in the comments. Hopefully I don't fight another Mike in the future, because maybe that'll be my weakness, although my weakness tends to be, Harold and carbohydrates sometimes. And the YouTube algorithm, which we'll have to see if it promotes this video. See you later.
Y'all, and you better subscribe.